Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Memphis. As we get into our second segment here, as you can see from the title alone, Anthony Edwards had an absolute one of his best performances, I'd say, of his career, finishing with 44 points and a crucial win, especially against a Western Conference opponent that is tied with them at the moment with record. Um, These two teams obviously very familiar with one another, sitting in the 6 and 8 seeds, excuse me. But two teams that really need to continue to grow and are continuing to grow. Hello, Anthony. How are we doing today? But getting right back into it. Yeah, this was a crucial win for the Timberwolves, especially with their loss 2 nights ago to the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, I don't know if you guys didn't hear about it. The Milwaukee Bucks down 24 points with I believe it was 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, 95-71 with 8 minutes to go. And they end up going on a 34-3 run to close out the game and winning it. One of the wildest comebacks of the regular season so far. And honestly, one of the wildest comebacks ever, I'd say, that I've ever seen. But yeah, this was a crucial win for this team, and they absolutely needed it. Also, before I go any further, I'd like to remind you guys to please like and follow the show for more GSMC Sports Network content. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask that you use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net for your questions. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see it. It also really helps out the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net for your questions and comments. And I've said this before, you guys' input really helps build our show because it helps us know what to talk about and what you guys like to hear in general. So, and all your input is greatly appreciated as always. Funny that comes on. Anthony Manzano, do you feel the West is a lot deeper even in the plan where teams are 10 games above 500 compared to the East where it's more top heavy? Yes, we're going to get into all that in the last segment of this show. Don't go anywhere. Just stick around for that. I'm so sorry. But we are going to get into all of that. I'm going to get into a deep playoff prediction, everything you guys need to know over these last 4 days with the last weekend of the regular season quickly approaching. We're going to get into all of that with a couple minutes within the last few minutes of the show. But getting right back to where I was, yeah, the Minnesota Timberwolves, one of the best teams in the Western Conference, one of the most dangerous teams in the Western Conference, easily one of the hottest teams in the Western Conference. I believe they're 6-4 in their last 10. But yeah, last night was crucial. Anthony Edwards shooting 7 of 11 from 3-point range, 68% from the field, and yeah, it was just a great win in general. First half, it was all Grizzlies. The Grizzlies just playing bully ball like they always do, shooting from the outside with John Morant and Desmond Bane, and then getting to the interior with Jaren Jackson Jr. That 300 monster in Memphis went ballistic last night. John Morant finishing with 36 points, Desmond Bane with 28, Jaren Jackson Jr. with 23 points. Fantastic game from that big three. But in the second half, it was all Timberwolves offense, especially in the third quarter. With about 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, they go on a 17-0 run to basically close the game. And that was the game. It didn't matter how much Memphis tried to crawl back into this game. It was just they would cut it from about 18-10 or 8 points. And then Memphis would shoot 2 or 3 3-pointers and it would be back to a 15-point lead. It didn't matter what Memphis did. The Timberwolves were just too much for them. Minnesota just really hitting timely buckets down the stretch and putting this game away. But with 2 games left to go for both teams in this situation, I think the Timberwolves are going to get the advantage. Right now, they're both tied at 47 and 33 records. I personally think the Grizzlies will finish at 48-33 with the Timberwolves at 49, just because of the strength of schedule. The T-Wolves finishing against the Nets and Jazz over their last two games, and then the Grizzlies with the Nuggets and okay, the Grizzlies have a back-to-back facing the Nuggets tonight, and then the Jazz on Sunday night. But yeah, overall, it's just going to be a battle of both teams to make who's going to come up on top for that last playoff spot. Who's going to be able to come out of the Western Conference? Who's going to be able to escape the play-in tournament? That's what it's all about for these two teams. For everybody in that 3 through 8 seeds at the moment, everybody's just battling to get out of the play-in tournament. That is what is at stake here. But yeah, overall, it was a fantastic game. Like I mentioned, the Minnesota Timberwolves shooting the lights out, playing phenomenal basketball when it matters most right now. Grizzlies, obviously a tough loss. I personally believe they're going to bounce back pretty quickly just because, first of all, they have a massive game against the Nuggets tonight, which is, funny enough, as I like to call it, the battle of late season firings with Mike Malone in Denver and then Taylor Jenkins in Memphis 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's just going to be a battle of teams. It's going to be a battle of interim coaches. It's going to be a battle of just willpower overall, because both of these teams are going through it. They're getting used to their new standards, new cultures, new coaches. Overall, it's just everything's new for these teams, new schemes. So it's just going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Like I said, there's only 3 games left to go in the regular season, or 3 days left to go in the regular season, including tonight. Everything's at stake. The Grizzlies and Timberwolves tied for between 6 and 8, or 7 and 8. Excuse me. The Warriors are at the 6th spot. But yeah, we have a top. All 3 teams are lined up right now, so it's gonna be it's gonna be a very interesting battle. It's gonna be a battle of strength of schedule, a battle of team willpower, and a battle of rest. Really, this back-to-back that the Grizzlies are on right now, that they have to deal with this weekend, or today and yesterday. It's not normal in terms of late season. Usually, teams are getting at least a day in between games to relax and get ready for the next, but especially with strengths of schedule between these 2 games, it's just tough to call. But overall, we're going to get into exactly where these teams are going to seed up come playoff time, Anthony, by the way. Where if you stick around for a couple more segments, and we're going to get into the both the Eastern and Western Conference playoff, my Eastern and Western Conference playoff predictions. But yeah, I'm going to take one last short break. I'm going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the Indiana Pacers on a 6-game win streak at the moment, including wins over the Cavaliers, Nuggets, and Kings. They're quietly one of the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference right now, led by Tyrese Halliburton, who's playing phenomenally right now. It's funny. I'm just going to say this before we get into the break. Tyrese Halliburton is one of the only point guards that I know that's more of a facilitating offensive guy, like the ball, more of a floor. It's like one of the only floor generals left in the NBA. He reminds me like similar to a Magic Johnson, but Magic Johnson obviously is a much better overall player, can play defense much better, can shoot, can score much better, is a triple-double machine. But Tyrese Halliburton is a floor general, we're going to get into all of that, but they play extremely unselfish through him on the offensive end. But I'm going to take a short break, and we're going to talk about the Indiana Pacers. Be right back, guys.